Hello and welcome again to Alone in the Dark, Part 1, Episode 12. Yes, 12. Now, last time, I managed to figure out what to do, thanks to a hint. As it turns out, what I was doing was correct the whole time, but it had to be at exactly the right spot, at exactly the right angle, and I wasn't doing it at that right spot. But afterwards, I found a whole bunch of books, slayed the unkillable monster that I thought was a mummy but turned out to be a god. Um, kind of a weak god, but whatever. Let's see, there was one book that killed me after I read it. I think I'm supposed to read that while standing on a symbol to prevent that from happening, but a bunch of the books I found, on top of just being lore, they were also, forgot to turn my volume down again. There are also hints. One even has a map of one of the floors in the house. So I gotta keep that. But it's full of hints of things I'm supposed to do and ways that I'm supposed to use the items and get past certain enemies, right? I guess the main problem is reading comprehension. Let me set the lamp down. Oh. Found another one. That might be the same one I found before. Nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. A book. I think I may have already read that one. Another book. Yes. Well, ah, frick. Alright. I gotta go get that lamp. Hmm.
Fragments of the book
in the antique city of may he who may not be named cast his withering gaze upon the unbeliever, for he is the door, the key, and the guardian of the door, and holds you now in his immense power. Let he who knows how to may he who may.
Nothing happened. Is that another book? Okay, well. Where else? Okay. Where else do you keep books but in the library, right? So.
Unfinished chapter of Terra Incognita.
In those icy and unwelcoming lands, these people, I...
The sons of the...
Holy Christ! As we the interior efforts, never drawing of Chalchihuitlicue by Dom Jose de la Sierra, done before...
Ludwig nomine invocatoris si non...
I forgot it did that.
Ludwig nomine invocatoris si non sanct...
I thought for sure that would be correct. I guess not. Is that another book I see? Apparently not. Now, I don't remember what the talisman is for. Which book is this?
Juan Luis Jorge, de Biblioteca.
Translation does not alter the occult power contained. Other examples of book.
The sacrificial dagger.
The important, the members of the, it would be studied, my, the knight, the priest will rather choose.
The Book of Yael. Signs of stone. Eucharistic ritual.
Numerous devilish cults speak of monstrous creatures called the Old Ones.
These supernatural beings are believed to be possessed of powers equivalent to those of the gods of antique religions. Adepts of such cults refer to forbidden literature in order to cause these frightful entities to appear before them. What serious student of folk myth? It must be said that these creatures wield tremendous power and are difficult to control once they have been unleashed into the world. Those who serve He who goes in shadows protect themselves with signs of stone, carved into the walls of houses or engraved on various objects. For those misguided servants of evil, the best protection appears to be that afforded by the sign of the most ancient gods, engraved in Manar stone, a heavy material said to be disagreeable to the touch. The sinful practices of those who fall into such errors can only lead to the darkest of... It is why...
Hmm. Hmm. Whoops. You know, I realized it did not provide a solution to the mannequin room. Hmm. Nah, that didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure one of those books in there, I don't remember which one. I'm pretty sure one of them had instructions on how to kill the knight. Maybe. I could be wrong. No, it was just talking about how they believed there was a curse on their armor. I don't think it mentioned how to defeat the armor. Hmm. I'm going to try to, like, I don't know, Ghostbusters it. See if the talisman does anything to him. Nope. Hmm. Ah, my cat just jumped up here. Well, that did absolutely nothing. Which means I'm still stuck. Okay. I don't really remember everything that was in those books from last night. Which means I need to go cross-reference. Oops. Whoops. The stairs trigger automatically when you get too close to them. Okay. It's time to do some fact-checking. Not from that bookcase, though. Take. Read.
The sons of
Holy as we discovered the interior, this massive stone draped in a golden cloak and studded with precious stones was coming. Horror of horrors! The granite eyes of the statue. Captain Cortez cried. We were unable to move. Our armor seemed to be bolted to the temple floor. Our legs weakened, and we collapsed in a thunder of steel. Only Cortez had the presence of mind to unsheath his dagger. He hurled it at the cackling priest. 4 inches of the finest Toledo steel buried itself in the heathen's face. His blood spurted, splashing the now lifeless idol. We picked ourselves up with difficulty. Never will I forget that terrible moment. My companions, naturally enough, told tales of devilish enchantments cast upon our armor. Whatever the truth of that, I could not deny that the supreme god of the Fortuniverse had treated us as mere playthings. I am convinced that a terrible energy is yet contained within that heathen statue. A power strong enough to change a proud conquistador. Drawing of Chalchihuitlicue by Dom Jose de la Sierra, done before the destruction of the Aztec temple of Tenochtitlan.
Okay. So, I guess one of the daggers does something. Probably this one. Or this one, actually. This one might do something. And the statuette is involved somehow. And it mentioned the armor, but not a way to defeat it.
Unfinished chapter of Terra Incognita by Jacob Van Ostate. A hitherto unpublished fragment.
In those icy and unwelcoming lands, the rites of wizards and healers are deeply rooted in ancient legend. Mysterious and cruel beings are thought to have ruled over the Arctic plains in times past. A cursed city, enclosed by massive walls, is believed to stand to this day. It contains fabulous treasures and is inhabited by the degenerate descendants of those who instilled centuries of terror in the hearts of the people. These people, naturally placid, are seized with rage and horror at the very mention of the prisoners of the ice. Were these dreadful captives to be freed from their frozen cells, they would reap a horrifying tribute of human flesh. These blood-curdling beings may be invoked by self. I admit to being impressed by these tales, repeated to me on many occasions and in a number of different places during my travels in the region. I have also seen troubling cult objects, sculpted in a material unknown to me. Another remark here.
I didn't have any hints.
If rocks could talk, or the
After the criminal selling off of Florida by the foul usurper, my father elected to remain in this inhospitable land, where we were free at least to express our royalist feelings, and hope our country would come to its senses. In 1818, a certain Pickford bought up Ledoux's land, after the poor fellow had ruined himself in unfortunate speculation. He was an adventurer of the worst, racked by a mania of persecution. Elia Pickford constantly fired his...
Okay, let me see. Which floor is this? Well, the stairs are right there. I think the stairs are right there. It immediately leads to... no, this is downstairs. This is downstairs. Okay, I got the whole orientation mixed up in my mind. I was reading it backwards, as it were. Okay, so those are the stairs, but they're facing the other way. Okay, so that's the dining room where the zombies were. That's the kitchen. That's the ballroom. The garden, the art room where the pirate was. Yes. How does this help me? I already know what the downstairs layout looks like. It doesn't have any hints on anything to do. It's just a picture of the downstairs. Okay, maybe she said something that relates to it. I gotta go back.
racked by a mania of persecution. Elia Pickford constantly fired his workers and hired new ones. He did all he could to keep anyone from learning about his plans. My father was amused and said, "The poor fool will end up getting lost in his own cave." But the walls went up, and tongues started wagging. Our detestable neighbor had been a sailor, a ruffian crone. He was an adventurer of the worst kind, nouveau riche, and bloated with a grotesque sense of self-importance. First came the incessant army of men with shovels, digging into the mountain of earth that was to fill in the surrounding swamp. The undertaking was quite stupendous. We learned from a slave that the final objective was to connect the existing caves with another one of gigantic proportions.
This is just giving me a hint that there's a tunnel in the basement. I already knew that. I've been in the tunnel. I was eaten by its worm. It doesn't have any hint on how to kill the worm. Okay.
When the work was finished, Pickford, we left immediately.
Oh, wait.
When the work was finished, Pickford invited us to the opening of his rambling mansion, which he named Derceto. My father asked what the strange name meant. Pickford answered, "Derceto reminds me of Astarte, the fertility goddess. Around here, the name is Shub-Niggurath. I believe that a name so steeped in evil should be said aloud came as not such a shock to my father, as he himself confided in me some while later. We left immediately. In June of 1862, Derceto was burned down in unexplained circumstances. It was undoubtedly the deed of some jealous Yankee or another. It was amazing to watch the servants rushing into the flames to try and save their bullet-riddled master. After that terrible night, Derceto fell into ruin. Its blackened walls were soon overgrown, as human-built works always are, by ever-present nature. In 1875, the property was eventually bought by a gentleman whose name was Howard Artwood. I was sorry that my father, who delighted in fine conversation, was no longer alive to enjoy the company of this new neighbor. Artwood was fascinated by Pickford and undertook a great deal of research in an attempt to find some treasures that he was convinced the pirate had hidden. He went through the ruins inch by inch. He then had the burnt-out house rebuilt exactly as it had been, and refurbished the library that had miraculously escaped the flames on the night of the Great Fire. Artwood set about studying every volume in that library, and often talked to me of his research. He was a handsome widower, deeply attached to his son Jeremy, who was later to become a professional artist.
Okay, so that explains the art room.
Artwood worked incessantly, first from the room I offered him, then from his own freshly restored home, which he rebaptized Derceto. I imagine he hoped to enlist the help of the god of good fortune in his treasure hunt. As far as I have ever been able to tell, all his searching came to nothing. There were no lost treasures to be found at Derceto. I learned of Artwood's death while I was in Paris. But that, as they say...
Okay. Okay. I already checked this side. Yeah. Okay, so it seems the only book left is the one that kills me when I read it. Okay. Well, I kinda thought, you know, going over those books again for comprehension's sake would be, like, really useful, you know? Like, they'd help me, you know? Kinda didn't. Whoops. I meant to throw it. You know, I just had an idea. So this is supposed to, like, repel dark magic or something, right? What if I stand on it and then read the, like, cursed book? Take. Maybe I'm supposed to take it to, that room in there. And then place the talisman, right here. Okay, okay. There we go. Close enough. Okay. And now I read it.
Nomine invocatoris, si non sanctificatus es, cave.
Never freaking mind. Okay. Oh no, I just had a whole episode of progress, and now I'm stuck again. Well, what is that, like 6 or 7 books? Frick. Is that... Well, I got a bunch of books. They got a lot of information. And, none of the information really helps. I mean, even that map, that was just like the basic layout of the downstairs. It doesn't even have any hints. I'm back to not knowing what to do. Okay. Um... I'm gonna try... I think I tried this before, but it didn't really work. It's because he's got such long range. Okay, maybe the magic dagger then. Okay. This dagger? Okay, why is the knockback so much more significant with this one? Oh, come on, he wasn't even attacking that time. I don't think it's doing anything. Okay, okay, it did mention the dagger. Okay, it mentioned the dagger and the goddess statue, right? The goddess statue is this one. So, maybe I destroy it with this. Maybe I don't. Put you down. And put you on top of it. Or not. Let's go back to the basement, I guess. Let's see if the talisman works on the freaking worm. Better save. Freaking rat. Whoops. Wrong button. Talisman. Do you do anything? Nope. Doesn't do anything. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can just sprint past the worm or something. No, I can't. There's nowhere to go. Okay. Well. And I know from trying that the key that the ghosts in here are blocking does not open the door on the other end of the smoker's room. So, it must be for some place I haven't accessed yet. And also... that means the statue and everything else and... ugh. And the talisman are all for things I haven't come across yet. What about this knight? There should be a way to, get him. Didn't it say that talisman is for, like, avoiding malevolent spirits, right? I got all these daggers, okay. Well, it's about all the time I have for tonight. Unfortunately, because I didn't really do much of anything this episode, and it's been over 40 minutes. I've mostly been retracing my steps with those books and just trying to see if any of my ideas work. Because those books, they didn't really tell me what to do about anything. At least not in any way I understood. So I had to cross-reference them again, but it didn't work. I don't know. But I've been stumped before, and, so I'm just gonna have to do my best to try and figure it out next time. If you have any hints, if you're familiar with the game, just a breadcrumb, not telling me exactly what to do, but just a breadcrumb to follow, I would appreciate it. And that's all the time I have for tonight. So, thank you for coming by. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed. But now I have to leave you alone in the dark. See you next time.